For over 30 years, we've been serving delicious food to excellent people. Brights Lantern takes pride in authenticity, serving fresh, homemade food to please any member of the family. Our food is always prepared daily. Whether you come in with friends or family, you'll appreciate that fresh is better.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather at noon.
Well, good morning, or actually I should say good afternoon now. I'm Taylor Plott here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center on this Monday afternoon. Rain and storms continue to push on off to our southeast. That's going to allow some cooler air to filter in behind that system. But we have more rain and storm chances coming up later this week, but there's a little bit of a catch to it. I'll explain that here in just a little bit. First off, let's take a live look outside of our Arctic Air Skycam network, seeing some raindrops still on the camera here in Lawrenceburg, but cloudy skies continuing here. Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, Florence, and Cherokee at noon this afternoon. The good news is once we get later on into this afternoon, I think a lot of this cloud cover should start to move on out, because by the time we get into the evening hours, we should see some mostly clear conditions out there. The other thing that this cloud cover is going to do, it's not going to allow temperatures to really budge too much later on this afternoon. Right now, currently 63 degrees here in Lawrenceburg with the northwest wind at 3 miles per hour. Dew point down to 59, so that drier air mass is starting to ease its way on in here, but it's going to take some time to really dry the air out. Dew point still at 60 here in Florence with a temperature 63. Got a west-northwest wind at 6 miles per hour there on the campus of the University of North Alabama. Here's the back end of that cooler air mass. Again, the cold front continued to make its way on into our area. So behind it, you're at 52 degrees here in Homewald, 53 in Waynesboro, 52 in Parsons. But just ahead of that cold front, you're still a little bit on the mild side, 64 in Pulaski, 65 in Athens, 64 at the Huntsville Airport, and 68 degrees in Decatur. This cold front should continue to sag its way on off to the southeast with time. That should allow all of us to pretty much dip down into the lower 60s later on this afternoon. Cold front, like I mentioned, continues to push east. The rain and storms are well out ahead of it at this point. Now getting into the Atlanta metro area, down towards Macon, eventually Albany, Georgia, getting close to that Dothan, Alabama metro area down there in southeast Alabama, and then down towards the Florida coast, getting close to that Panama City area. Again, all of this continues to work its way off to our east, so they'll be dealing with the rain and storms this afternoon, while we'll be on the backside. We'll be cooling off and drying on out. By 1 p.m., notice how, at least on this Futurecast depiction, the backside of that cloud shield should start to make its way into the area, and that should allow our temperatures, again, they're not going to be budging too much, but if you get enough sun later on this afternoon, it might bump the temperatures up just a tad. So you might be going from 62 to, say, 64 this afternoon. But for the most part, all of us will be getting down into the lower 60s by about 6 p.m. this evening, upper 50s here across parts of southern Tennessee. By the time we get into the late evening hours, clear skies will continue to be the case out there, and that will allow our temperatures to drop down into the upper 30s and lower 40s by the time we wake up on your Tuesday morning, as you see here. But the good news is abundant sunshine is expected tomorrow, maybe just a few high thin clouds out there. That will allow our temperatures to get back up into the 60s. I don't think it's going to get really warm tomorrow. They're probably remaining in the 60s for the most part, but there could be some places that get up into the lower 70s for your Tuesday. So this is the afternoon temperatures, not necessarily your afternoon highs, or the high during the day. Our high already occurred before the storms moved through. So this is what we can expect temperature-wise as the tipping point on the temperature scale later on this afternoon. And again, like I mentioned, everybody generally in that lower 60 range, maybe some upper 50s here across parts of Homewald and the Waynesboro area. Across parts of northwestern Alabama, a little bit warmer just because it's still pretty warm out there right now. So more mid-60s are expected for your afternoon highs down there. Tonight, all of us will be going down into the upper 30s and the lower 40s with, again, some cloud cover around, but I think for the most part, we're dealing with mostly clear conditions tonight and into parts of tomorrow morning. All right, let's talk about the rain chances, because like I mentioned, there's a little catch to this rain potential that we have coming up this week. Wednesday and Thursday, they're going to be on the lower end of the rain chances, talking about 20, 30, 40% for the most part. Most of this could end up being off to our northwest, to where these 20, 30, 40% are actually down to maybe 10% or zero. So again, that's what we're kind of fine tuning here forecast wise. I'll explain that here in your futurecast. Once we get into Friday and Saturday, I do think there's going to be some better rain chance potential, especially once we get into Saturday, because there's going to be an actual front that finally pushes on through during the day on Saturday, and that will give us the chance at some rain and storms. Some of those could be on the stronger side as well. Again, Wednesday, we're still watching the chance for some severe weather. Most of this could end up being off to our northwest, so I'm going to show you why that's the case here. Wednesday at 3 p.m., notice how there's a little bit of blue here in the model guidance that's depicting that there's a chance that there could be a pop-up shower or storm or two during the day on Wednesday. If that happens, some of those could be on the stronger, severe side. But what's happening is not necessarily at the surface, but what's going on aloft at about 500 millibars, it's about 18,000 feet above our heads, is there's upper level ridging. So instead of upper level lift that's allowing storms to grow and develop, you're actually getting what's called subsidence. You're actually getting sinking air that's being pushed down, and that doesn't bode well when it comes to storm chances. But we're right on the edge of where we have just enough ridging to keep us dry versus what's called height falls, meaning you're actually getting more lifts, more cooler air aloft moving in. And what that does is that allows storms to develop. So we're right on that edge between the ridge and actually getting some better forcing to get some rain and storms to develop. The best chance of that is off to our northwest as I move forward here on your futurecast. Here we go, 2 a.m. Thursday. Notice showers and storms lining up off to our northwest, but we're dry here in Lawrenceburg and Florence and Decatur and Huntsville. But again, from a model guidance perspective, this little spot right here is not that much in the way of meaning mileage. It's only about 50 to 60 miles between seeing dry weather and actually dealing with rain and storms. And from a model's point of view, that's not a big gap to fill. So this could wobble back and forth to where we actually might get a little bit better forcing down here, and we could be dealing with some showers and storms. So that's that kind of fine line here between actually seeing something and being dry. Once we get into Thursday, same situation. There is a small chance of an isolated shower or storm, but notice how most of this activity remains off to our northwest as another wave of low pressure develops with this active weather pattern that we're in. And again, this could bring some strong or even severe storms off to our western areas. But again, it doesn't really get close to us, but it's that fine line again between something changes in the forecast guidance and then boom, you actually get some rain and storm potential a little bit better on your Thursday. By the time we get into Friday, I think we do get a little bit better chances for some rain and storms as yet again another wave of low pressure develops off to our west. We get a little bit more lift involved, and that should allow us to get a little bit better rain chance potential on your Friday. And then like I mentioned, on your Saturday, you actually have a cold front coming through, 80 to 68. That's your temperature difference. So you actually get the forcing needed to have some showers and storms on your Saturday. But again, main focus right now is Wednesday. If we do get some storms, they could be strong or severe, so please keep checking back for the latest on that. The other thing to mention, if we are dry, let's just say, for instance, Wednesday you take those chances off, Thursday you take those chances off, say those temperatures at 83, those will be going up. There's a lot of model guidance that's pointing, especially for northwestern Alabama, and it could creep into parts of southern Tennessee for the shoals. Wednesday and Thursday, some guidance is showing 88 to 89 degrees. So who's to say that 90 isn't out of the realm of possibility if we are dry Wednesday and Thursday? So again, if you take those rain chances off, you bump those temperatures up into the middle, possibly even upper 80s for some of our viewing area. Again, like I mentioned, once we get into Friday and Saturday, better chance of rain and storms those days. And then Saturday, we have a cold front moving through that will bump our temperatures down into the upper 60s and lower 70s on Sunday. That's your latest look at your forecast at noon on this Monday. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Ben Luna will be in at 5 p.m. to give you another update with his Live at 5, and I'll be in at 6 and 9 to give you the latest information on this evening's forecast.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.